Welcome to Cardiac Cats. No, Pride of Detroit PODcast, prideofdetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of Detroit on Facebook. You know where to find us. Yes, it is the Cardiac Cats on a win. Detroit Lions now hold the best record in the NFC. So, what a game today that we're going to break down for you as the Detroit Lions 31, Minnesota Vikings 29. Final score on a Jake Bates field goal that underlined a hectic, hellish, and chaotic day at the office for the Detroit Lions that started with some heebie-jeebies, ended with some heebie-jeebies, and in between, a lot of great football goodness. And on both sides of the ball, I'm just going to say this, great game all around. Great game all around. I think as a football fan, this was a game you wanted to watch. I'm sure Lions fans would probably like a more comfortable win, but take a second back. Just experience, you appreciated a really damn fine football game and a Lions victory on top of it. I am Chris Perfett, the adequate and very hyperactive host of the POD cast right now, with heart palpitations from this game, really, at the end of it. Joining me, as always, Jeremy Reisman, the fearless leader at Detroit Online, who probably also has heart palpitations from this game. We're all getting old.
Yeah, it was. I checked my heart rate right before Jake Bates lined up that 44-yard field goal, and it only said 120, but it felt like it was probably 150. But man, heck of a ball game, as you said, and really nice to come out on the positive end of close games like that, because that's what it takes to be a championship level football team, to do that, particularly on the road against, I think, a really good football team that had all the momentum in that game. Yes, the momentum, had the crowd on their side, and the Lions delivered in big moments there to win it.
And look, much as the Lions, we got to give them credit. Well, we will give them credit for getting past the blow of a quick 10-point hole very quickly and everything going wrong at the start of the game. Got to give some credit to the Vikings being resilient, coming back as then Detroit laid 21 on them straight, unanswered, and just turned this game into a slob fest down the line. Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD. Ryan, we're doing pulse checks across the board here. So heart rate, we good?
Yeah, I think I'm fine. I don't know why, but I just had the urge to go to Dollar General after the game and grab Red Bull because I guess I needed that, I thought. But my eye's been twitching ever since 2:30 this afternoon. So I should either chill out, or I was looking for medicine to keep it going. I don't know. Either way, this isn't a Jason Statham movie. This is a Detroit Lions football season that they are the number one team in the NFC.
That's right. Detroit Lions football will give you a neurological disease. Before we begin, can I just say one thing before we get into our takeaways? And I know I can hear some of the people. I just want to appreciate how far we have come, because I was telling Jeremy this and I was telling some of my coworkers this before, when they put that extra second back on the clock at the end of the game, how many ghosts did we all have to fight off and say, these are different Lions? Because I felt man, any other time in any other point in history, any other coaching staff, any other defense, you tell me, hey, the refs are giving a second back to the other team that they probably shouldn't have, and maybe Kevin O'Connell accidentally discovered a Dan Lanning type of hack on the game of football and its rules. I'm telling you, I'm not feeling good about what happens next.
I'm convinced there's an 80-yard field goal on the end of that call.
Oh, they were going to have Reichbach kick if they hadn't been backed up 5 yards. He was going to have he was going to try 69 yards.
Oh Lord,
not nice.
Yeah, not nice at all. No.
I know. No. I don't know so much about ghosts that I was trying to fend off, Chris, but I definitely had an entire tweet typed out that said it's going to be the saying 10-second runoff has never sounded sweeter, and then I had to delete all of that tweet as the Lions were celebrating. And the game wasn't over, and
it's
no.
As we learned, ineligible formation is not a 10-second runoff rule. We learned something new about the rule book today, and thankfully it didn't screw up the Detroit Lions this time.
It's crazy. First of all, that's not a 10-second runoff. It's absurd.
That has to change next week.
But here's the thing. Mookie Alexander, our friend from Field Goals, showed me that this happened to the Seahawks in 2006, and they ended up kicking a game-winning field goal. Because the Seahawks are the second luckiest organization in football, maybe behind the Vikings. But
there's a Lions thread to that too, because the offensive coordinator for the Rams was Scott Linehan, or the head coach was Scott Linehan.
That's right.
So, former Lions offensive coordinator.
But like when football zebras, which I kind of view as like the high mark of referee analysis on Twitter, is tweeting, how do these weird loopholes keep happening to the Detroit Lions? You know, we're not going crazy, right? We're not the ones that are crazy thinking like, how? But you're right. This is a turning of the page in that it didn't kill us.
Well, one thing that was different was the balls to call pressure on a Hail Mary rather than sit back and try to deal with whatever happens, because Sam Darnold did Nowoski that coming.
Hey. Oh,
bang, 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 bang.
The play before that one though, with Aleem McNeil just hanging out, just monitoring the line of scrimmage, like that was his goal. And I was like, I don't know if I love this, but the game's over.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
All right. Well, besides that ending, which was nail biting, and a Jake Bates field goal, which I think we need to lean off him a little bit. Like, I mean, Greg Zuerlein is out here missing so much more than this, but I know like everyone's going to be nervous about Jake Bates no matter what. I feel like. Let's talk about the rest of the game and our big takeaways from this game. And if the conversation hasn't already started on Jared Goff, I will say it's starting. And if it has already started on Jared Goff, then he is the front runner for it. And I'm talking about 3 letters, MVP. Late into a game, you're carrying, once again, another perfect passing game, only for it to finally get snapped. And no matter what, you still finish this game 22 of 25 for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. A fumble, the only really scary part of what happened here, and he had the good grace to decide to fall directly on it. But more than that, I've never seen Jared Goff playing this well under pressure before. Like, he avoided that strip sack on him and just threw a dart down the field. Even just a couple years ago, I would not have said Jared Goff was possible of that. And these last few games, the man has been playing like his hair is on fire. He is cool, calm, collected, and running this offense better than nobody else. And there's nobody else in the league who's close to the level of competence and accuracy that he has had. Maybe his only competition coming into this game was Sam Darnold. And the Lions put some cold water on Sam Darnold with this game, I feel like. Jared Goff was the better quarterback in this game. He's been the better quarterback of the entire league for quite a while now. And I don't know how if there's any more roses really to give him here at this point. I came into this game as, thinking that if there was any MVP conversation on Jared Goff, it would once again go to Ben Johnson. I'm seeing people across the board talking about Jared Goff now and not just Ben Johnson. And that makes a difference. It really makes a difference knowing the Lions have one hell of a QB1 right now.
It's crazy how Jared Goff just seems to have the book on Brian Flores. Like every other quarterback is panicking. You saw Aaron Rodgers last week or 2 weeks ago, like losing his mind, throwing it right to Vikings defenders. One of the most turnover reverse quarterbacks in the history of the NFL in Aaron Rodgers, losing his mind. Jared Goff has gone up against this defense 3 times and torched him every single time. No interceptions in any of those 3 games. He'd only been sacked twice in the previous 2 games. He had 4 today, so not his best there. But like you pointed out, the play where he stepped up, avoided a strip sack, and fired it downfield for a 20-yard gain. Maybe the play of the game. Like, where that game was at, it felt like it could slip out of control. Such a huge play. And let me read you this. If you like to add to the Jared Goff MVP conversation, he currently has 73.6% completion rate, which is 6% higher than his career high. Mm-hmm. He has 9.3 yards per attempt. His previous high was 8.4. His passer rating is 111.5. His previous high was 101.1. He is having a career year in a year in which everyone's talking about, well, offense is down. The passing game is like all these too high safeties. How are you supposed to pass the ball in the NFL today? Jared Goff and Ben Johnson and everyone else involved has figured it out.
Yeah, Lions PR had the tweet out that Jared Goff has supposed to passer rating of 140 plus in 3 straight games. The only 3 to do that before Aaron Rodgers, Kurt Warner, and Roger Staubach. Like, it's unbelievable. And you're right. Like, when he picked, he's been identifying pressures, Ryan. There was that play where they picked up 7 and threw, I believe that was a touchdown pass. Like, he understands coverages better than anyone out there right now, and is calling them correctly, and that is a skill that is completely to his credit, if nothing else.
I don't have any bones with saying this, but I think that this was Jared Goff's best game as a Detroit Lion.
Ooh,
yeah, no, I
spicy.
I
love it.
Mean, he had a perfect game, but that was against lesser competition.
Yeah, well, this game, the smarts were on display, like in a way that I hadn't seen them before.
Yeah.
There was a play. So to Chris's play that he was just talking about on the zero coverage, where he threw that seam touchdown to Amon-Ra, which was right on the money. Just a beautiful throw.
He was throwing darts all day,
sitting back in the pocket. Like he was waiting for that until the last possible moment when he knew that he could put it in there. But it wasn't even my favorite play of the day from Jared Goff. It was the other seam route that he hit to Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side of the field, where he pump faked with his eyes as well to get Harrison Smith to bite down on a flat route that he wasn't throwing. And then he hits Amon-Ra right up, and it almost looked like a no-look throw in terms of like how quick it happened. But Goff manipulated Harrison Smith. This is a guy who, coming into this game, when you were talking about what's making the Vikings work, Harrison Smith is drinking from the fountain of youth, right? Like, he's incredible. He's so multiple. He can help out in all these different ways. Jared Goff, on the road, US Bank Stadium, just puts that guy out on an island. And like, it was one of my favorite plays I think I've ever seen Jared Goff make. But that's what I mean when I think that today, especially, he has Brian Flores' number, Jeremy. Like you said it. Like it's just, it's confusing everybody else. It's the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just Ben Johnson can draw up the game plan, because he was making throws and making reads and making plays that weren't Ben Johnson reads and throws. You know what I mean? So
that's the entire Brian Flores offense. Disguise everything until the last possible second, and Jared Goff was calling the bluff every time.
He's winning the play before it snapped, right? He's doing everything that's necessary before that ball is snapped to put the team in the best position to win. Like, how many times were there unblocked defenders in Goff's face? It happened every now and then, but it didn't happen that much. Like, again, you look at some of these other games that the Vikings have played, and either the quarterbacks aren't picking up the protection, or the offensive line is missing an assignment. There was a little bit of that. It wasn't the offensive line's best day, but Jared Goff, I thought, put the team in the best position almost every single snap before that snap was made.
Jeremy, how many 3rd and longs were the Lions converting as well? Like, usually in past years, we're like, okay, oh God, what do we do here?
Goff missed 1 throw on the day. The
deep
ball
shot
that he had to Khalif Raymond, where he just put a little too much on it. That was the only throw he missed all day.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too, is he's being incredibly, I don't even want to call it careful, but he's finding a way. Brian Flores is forcing turnovers left and right on every team. The Vikings led the NFL in takeaways per game.
Yeah. Which, sidebar, I know you kind of had a bit of a problem with it, Jeremy, but I think that's, again, on the sidebar, that's why I feel like the Lions start kneeling the ball down for the Jake Bates field goal, is like, we're not even going to let these guys try to punch it out.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was risky, but I think I get it.
And then also the tinfoil hat theory that they were backing up to make Jake Bates more comfortable.
Hey,
this
man,
is more like an extra point. We got to back it up a little bit.
Put it behind 40 yards. Like, that's where
he's in the sweet spot. Yeah. All right, Jeremy, what was your takeaway from the game?
My takeaway is just this team is so gritty and stable. And I mean, the way this game started couldn't have been any worse, right? They go down 10-0. Their offense goes 3 and out,
Nightmare.
3 straight drives. Dave Montgomery gets an injury. Tim Patrick nearly fumbles the ball. Like, everything is going wrong. And in a game against a team in which that is where the Vikings thrive, right? Is they get out to an early lead, they make you one-dimensional, they pin their ears back, and you're done. And Dan Campbell even said this week, we can't let that happen to us. These teams panic when they get behind against the Vikings. We need to make sure that we don't get into that hole, and if we do, we stay level. We don't panic. And my God, not only did they not panic, they turned that game on a dime immediately. Like, when you see the Vikings get out to a 10-0 lead, you know, in some of these other cases, 3-score leads, the only time anyone even came close to coming back was the Packers, and it took them damn near the entire game to get back in that game. The Lions were in a 2-score lead well before the half was over. That is absolutely incredible to me, the way they were able to stay stable like that. And then the end of the game happens, and one of your most trusted players makes one of the biggest mistakes probably the biggest mistake of his Lions career when David Montgomery fumbles, and you don't bat an eye. Yes, you go 3 and out, but then your defense stands up and gets a 3 and out on their own. The offense comes back on the field, and they operate in a way that had Greg Olson's mind blowing. He's freaking out because the Lions are taking too long, when the Lions are just like, no, this is what we're doing. We're running the rest of the clock because we know we're going to score, and we know we're going to run the rest of the clock. You don't need to panic about, oh, do you guys even know you're losing the ball? Yeah, they know. They also know they're about to win the football game, and then they did.
A rare L from Greg Olson.
The fortitude of this team, because again, we're talking about what's changed too, even within this tenure of like, I am glad, I know you said this on Twitter, Jeremy, I'm glad we're not talking about the failed fake punt at the start. Because, like, look, I feel like that's something, it's just like you have that in your script. You want to try that because you want to punch them in the face. And unfortunately, they blocked every shot at the start of you punching in the face. But that didn't phase you. Exactly. And like, this wasn't even a great day from David Montgomery. He leaves a bit injured for a while. As you say, it's even when he comes back in the game. Well, which, by the way, talk about gritty there, going through all of that. Like, he has a okay day, but not by David Montgomery standards these last few games. But that's fine. You still have Jahmyr Gibbs to lean on. You still have this entire team to lean on. And you mentioned the defense and how they buckled down. Like, yeah, the Vikings are going to take the top off, and yeah, they're going to beat you on the blitz because Sam Darnold's good at beating you on the blitz. But then even after that, late in the game, where it felt like this is a good chance for them to try to air the ball out, you're giving them nothing. You're giving them nothing. Like, the penalty problems early on the game started to vanish from the Lions as well, especially on defense. Once again, like, another very clean day from Terry and Arnold, as far as I'm concerned, compared to where he was to start the year. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, this team knows how to made adjustments multiple times in this game. They made adjustments after the 10-0 hole, and they made adjustments as Sam Darnold started to get into a groove and started to rock and roll a bit. They adjusted again. They knew how to just dance with whatever was coming out there. And it's a huge credit to this coaching staff to just be alert and aware of everything that's going on, and to change looks and to change everything as the game progressed.
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway, it also aligns with that, but I just want to focus on the fact that we're recording this at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time. 5.5 hours ago, everybody was calling this the Ravens game. Oh, this is the Ravens game. The Lions couldn't have got to a worse start, right? Go for the fourth down fake punt, get stopped. Aaron Jones runs untouched on Terry and Arnold, not holding contain on the outside, easy touchdown. Then you go up 3 and out. Vikings kick a field goal, it's 10-0, and then another 3 and out. The Lions' first 3 drives, they did not get a first down. On their next 4 possessions, they scored touchdowns. Like, what was very clear from me at the very beginning of the game, yeah, the Vikings score that touchdown, but the next defensive effort from the Lions when they hold the Vikings to that 57-yard field goal, there was a lot of confidence there in the way that the defense was playing. And then the offense goes out and they had that 3-and-out, right? And it's like, oh man, like the offense isn't even going to pick it up and it looks like the defense kind of has it. The defense goes out there and forces a 3-and-out and then it's touchdown city. So like their ability to overcome, right? And in the face of that fake punt going awry and the Lions not picking it up, they picked up their coach in a way that he's got to appreciate because I get it. You're trying to catch him off guard, but I don't know if I was crazy about it. Don't know if I was crazy about the play call, but I'm just saying that I think it's incredible that the defense, I think, was so resilient all game long. And that was going to be the biggest test this week, I thought. It was going to be how the Lions were going to adjust to life after Hutch. And I don't know if we have great answers or great results, but they got the job done.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit in the second part of this podcast because there's still some questions there. But you're absolutely right. Like, I think I said it to start too. Like, they had someone in Trevor Nowoski to go and get Sam Darnold at the end of the game, and they still got to Sam Darnold several times in this game as well. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you still have Brian Branch back there to make plays and add another interception to his tally. And Sam Darnold's getting sacked because the coverage is so good.
I have things I want to say about the defense, but I want to keep the first segment mostly positive because I'm not quite as optimistic about the defense as maybe you guys are.
No, I think there's some blemishes to it. I'm just saying, like, there's still. Okay.
But I want to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs because,
yes,
again, picking up a fellow player when he's down. It was, let's be honest, terrible game for Dave Montgomery. He had the good one-handed catch, averaged less than 4 yards a carry, had the critical fumble late in the game, probably playing through a lot of pain, I would imagine, as well. Jahmyr goes out there and has his best Lions game of his career.
160 yards of scrimmage.
Yeah.
In this game. And 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. And
it's up there.
And I mean, look at how that game ended. Look at the offensive drive that won it. Let me remind you what happened. Gibbs, 4-yard rush. Gibbs, 14-yard catch. Gibbs, 16-yard catch. 34 yards right there. Already gets you in field goal range. He stepped up in a huge way, in a way that reminds you, if there's maybe a Packers blog out there that says, I don't even know why they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. David Montgomery's fine. Like, he's clear your number one. You don't even need Jahmyr Gibbs. Spending a first round on Jahmyr Gibbs? Listen, I know I sound hypocritical making fun of someone saying that. I understand that. But today was proof that having 2 number 1 running backs is absolutely worth it when you're built like you are like the Lions are built.
Yeah. It's fantastic. I was getting in a conversation on Fox Sports Radio about, like, you know, you have to roll with Jahmyr Gibbs. He's your RB1, but I'm like, I don't know. You know, next week it might be David Montgomery's time again. Like, this is absolutely a strength on how they have set all of this up, on how they run this. And it's great. It's great to watch all of it, Ryan. It's great to watch all of it.
It was great that the Lions were able to test the Vikings in a way that the Vikings hadn't been tested yet this year, making them play from behind. And the Lions showed the wherewithal to get it done in the end. Like, I think that's another notch in their belt. This is arguably up there as like a top 3 win for Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I think so too. And a top 3 win for us is Righteous Felon Craft Jerky and Meat Sticks. It's because it's the jerky that we love here on the Pride of Detroit POD cast. And it's a winner every time. It will not make your heart go nuts, like, say, a 1 second added to the end of the clock kind of play. Each 2-ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein. Each stick has 8 grams. Trust me, if it's good enough for us, it'll be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Locally sourced, all natural Black Angus beef. Superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. Well, you've heard me say this before. POD 15. You get 15% off your order. You get great snacks. Keep fueling yourself because there's a lot more football to go in this season. It's a long, long, long season, and you're going to want the protein to carry you through, just like the Detroit Lions will carry you through. When we come back on the Pride of Detroit POD cast, time to dive a little bit deeper into this game, talk about some blemishes, and talk about what is the next step maybe for this defense dealing with life after Aiden Hutchinson. We'll be right back on the Pride of Detroit POD cast. I'm sorry, my allergies have been killing me, so I'm like struggling to speak a little bit.
Sorry, switching this scenes like that. The alerts were going off during the show, and I needed to fix that. So should be fixed now. Okay, let's hang out for a while. There were a lot of alerts, so I'm gonna try to get to those right away here, so that we can have a bunch of time and answer your questions, celebrate, whatever y'all want to do. Okay. Turpentine, thank you for the follow. Reno, Dakota, thank you for the follow. BW, thank you for the follow. G. Davis, thank you for the follow. Dreskel, thank you for the 26 months subscribed on Twitch. No Decaf, 44 months subscribed on Twitch, says Sam Darnold. Did Nowaski see that? Did Nowaski see that coming? I didn't deliver it as well.
No. I tried to correct it later as I realized I didn't need the second C. So it just did Nowaski that coming.
True. That's true. G Calendar, thank you for subscribing on YouTube. Karen, thank you for the 26 months, says we're number one, baby. Jared Goff. Mathis, 24 months, 2 years, says whoop whoop. Watched with my football noob girlfriend. She might be a fan now as well. Love it. Spreading the love. Boof Gertz, thank you for the 15 months subscribed to the channel. Benadry. Thank you for gifting a sub to Turb Q. Rye is a beast. $5 super chat on YouTube says Greg Olson is an idiot. Kick it short to burn time. They almost gave up a TD last week. There was no way they were kicking short. Good job, guys. Yeah, I don't know what I feel about that strategy.
What's this?
So the argument there is on the ensuing kickoff after you kick the field goal, you kick the kickoff short so that it burns another 5, 6, 7 seconds.
Okay.
Of course, the problem with that is that you risk giving up a big return.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like you miss kick it and then all of a sudden it's at the 40-yard line.
Right, you kick it out of bounds.
Or even kick it short of the landing zone.
Right. Hopefully you don't do that.
Yeah.
It's I get both sides. I think if you have supreme confidence in your coverage team and your kicker, yeah, maybe you do that. But I think it is a valiant point from Raya's here that says they just gave up a big return last week. Maybe don't risk it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I feel like I'm tuning out of kickoffs even more now.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like it's all very confusing.
Crook FTW, thank you for the 47 months subscribed to the channel. Joshua Mercer, 51 months, says let's MFing go. Joshua Mercer, 100 bits, says Bridget Case says hello and glad to have you guys back.
I tried rating Bridget. I tried rating Bridget after our preview podcast, but I got logged out of all the POD stuff, so I couldn't actually as my account raid. So I noticed she's back on Twitch, and hello to Bridget. I know. Had a lot of fun there. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay. Pirate Dog, thank you for gifting a sub to Dilly Kong. Phenoms Wow, 10 months, says 2 straight road wins. Let's go. It's true. That shouldn't be overlooked. It's not easy to do in the NFL. California Lions, 19 months subscribed to the channel. Quirky Zerky, 38 months. Says 38 months, still not as many points as last week. Very true. Joshua Mercer, 100 bits, says, did we not call a special teams game and W on first bite, Jeremy? Did that happen? I don't remember. That may have happened.
First bite feels like it was weeks ago.
It does. Yeah.
We had Hamza. We had Hamza on the purview, so it might have been him.
Bluegrass Wolverine, thank you for the sub on YouTube. Woodchuck Hunter 100 bits says my heart is still recovering. Feel ya. Joshua Mercer 100 bits says, did anyone look up the ruling on not doing a runoff there? I was lost, to be honest. Yeah, apparently it's just a loophole. It is in the rule book, I guess, that an illegal formation does not come with a 10-second runoff as long as everyone is lined up and set.
But were they supposed to give him the second back on the? I was confused about that. I thought they failed to spike at 000.
No, they spiked it before 000.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what they said, at least.
Okay.
You know what could make things much clearer is if the NFL adopted decimal timing in the final minute, because then we'd be able to tell exactly how much time was left instead of like it was turning into
What?
zero.
And we just round down or what?
No, nothing. You don't round down or anything. There's 0.4 seconds left instead of 1 second left.
So if there was a 0.1 second left, they'd still be able to run a play.
Yeah. I mean, if the ball goes out of bounds in basketball with 0.01 seconds, the game's not over. Why? I just don't understand why timing is treated differently in the NFL than any other game. It's very silly to me.
So that we can do this.
Yeah, probably.
Why have we had chains up until this point? We still have chains as well, Jeremy, to measure first downs. I mean,
I think we learned in the preseason though that the tech for chips in football doesn't work
not great.
Lasers.
Not great.
Anyways, Cold Phone, they
You're
give
not
6
going to
months
make
subscribe
Fox
to the
tracks
channel.
with this.
Line in London, 49 months subscribe to the channel, says LFG Kings of the North, Kings of the NFC. Let's not limit ourselves.
Can we appreciate, like, looking 1 through 8, and this is now true because I believe the 49ers are 3 minutes away from eating shit. No NFC West anywhere 1 through 8 in the NFC.
Seahawks are close though, right? Are they 3-2 or 4-2?
They're 4-3.
They're 4-3.
Seahawks, who forced Michael Penix Jr. onto the field.
Yikes.
Yeah, not great, Bob.
Well, this is why we've been saying the NFC North could send four teams. Like, it's possible. It's unlikely, but it's possible. Because I don't know, like, what second place team right now in the NFC do you think is good?
I
49ers.
can't say Eagle. I can't say Eagles because, like, my Eagles friend at work will get mad at me.
What do you like second place in their respective division, you mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
The Commanders are in first place. You can't count the Commanders. So you're either saying
don't
that
think
the
it's the
Cowboys or
Falcons.
Eagles. I don't think it's the Falcons. I don't think there's any other NFC South team that's legitimate.
I just can't picture a playoff without the 49ers, but it could very well happen.
Just to show how quickly things move in the NFL, 4 weeks ago, people were like, maybe the Saints.
Yeah. And now they're on a 5-game losing streak.
And now, like, there are a lot of people I see calling for Dennis Allen. They're like, yeah, no, it's time, bud.
That's
like,
that's fine.
Yeah, listen, I think the 49ers are probably the best answer, and they're 3-4. The Lions are 3
Well,
games
they're
ahead
going
of
to
that
pick
team.
up. They've got a chance to pick up the win. They're playing the Cowboys next week, but then on the road against the Bucks, Seahawks, Packers, at Packers, at Bills, Bears, Rams. Like, they're about to go through a murder row.
They've got a first place schedule, you know?
Yeah.
Not everyone can handle a first place schedule, you know?
oh gosh,
Come on. Like, we're playing the Titans next week.
Okay, but
it's a trap game.
I think the first
I was gonna
the first
say.
6 games of the season, maybe they didn't turn out to be as hard as they looked, but because like the Rams and the Cowboys. But
I mean, the loss, I keep saying this about the Bucks too. That is to a legitimate, like, really good team. And that was before the Bucks took some losses when they lost Vita Vea as well. Like,
And I don't think the
Bucks are a good
Rams are.
team.
I don't think the Rams are cooked.
no, they
we'll
can
see.
still.
Once they get healthy.
They're going to get
they
Cooper
won today,
Kupp
right?
back here soon. Yeah,
Yeah, I
but they
think
beat the Raiders.
they beat up the Raiders. Yeah,
They didn't beat them up, but they beat the Raiders.
Which
20-15.
they beat them up.
thank you.
Yeah,
More Raiders beatdowns, please.
I hate the Raiders.
I don't. I know what you're
Do you have
doing.
an under?
and
Wait, do you have an under on the
stop.
season?
No. He's trying to Max Crosby to Detroit.
Oh, he's
way
kind of
into
trying to
here.
Max Crosby. I see. Well, unfortunately, this Darius Smith stuff took a blow. This entire morning kind of went against that because Darius Smith, that stuff took a blow. Bengals picked up a win. I was actually doing updates for Fox Sports.
That's a good thing.
Why?
The Darius Smith plays for the Browns, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was Bengals for some reason. I'm an idiot.
That's Trey Hendrickson.
Okay. But I was actually doing updates, and I got to my first breaking news sting when this Hassan Reddick news came down.
That one was never happening. Ryan wrote a good article on why not. You should read it.
Thank you. Also, I don't think the base article got published.
I thought I pushed it. Push it
Um,
right now if it's not been pushed. Oh, it's up there now.
uh, I just want to say that the thing I hate about the Kansas City Chiefs right now is Patrick Mahomes today was 16 of 27 for 154 yards and threw two interceptions, and the Chiefs
They won by 2 scores.
went into San Francisco and won by 2 scores.
Man, I hate to say it, but they're in that phase where the Patriots turn from being like a run-heavy team to leaning on their defense. The Kansas City Chiefs have learned to embrace the Spagnolo mode.
So, but I think another thing too that they may have exposed about San Francisco is they're kind of light, and you can run the football on them. Like there was a clear emphasis. Like Kansas City ran the ball 37 times today for 186 yards, 4 touchdowns.
With Kareem Hunt as their lead back, let's keep that in mind.
3.5 yards a carry. Like it was just like
with Kareem Hunt, Samaje Perine, and Carson Steele. That's their running back room.
Yeah, I mean, why are they inevitable? I don't like.
Right.
Their defense is good.
No, I really do think at this point, this is Spags. This is like, hey, they've got a really good defense, and they're going to lean on it. And like they picked off Brock Purdy 3 times.
Oh, I did see that. I saw Ayuk got carted off, right?
Yeah.
Is there any news on that?
No,
did he get carted off from the medical tent?
I don't know.
Like after his examination, because I thought he made his way to the medical tent, or I at least saw him like walking into it. But
I didn't see what happened, but I thought I read a tweet that
he got hit pretty hard across the middle.
Apparently, I'm reading here from someone that Trent Williams was ejected for throwing a punch as well.
Man. Speaking of some over and unders, I just wanted to say, do you guys know what the Vikings win over under was?
It was 11.5 after I think going into this game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what it was
before the season?
Do you know what it was before the season?
6.5.
I'm going to say 5.5.
It was 6.5.
It was 6.5. I looked this up. Yeah.
Like it's October 20th, and they could have been 2 wins away,
a half win away.
That. Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. But then the other thing was the 49ers going into the year, their divisional win over under was 4.5. They've already lost 2 games.
They've already lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the Commanders over total? Do you remember?
It had to have been like around that 6.5 number, probably 5.5.
I don't know myself, so that's why I'm asking, because they have been kind of the surprise of the season right now.
Dude, what? The Panthers are bad, huh? Like bad,
Really bad.
Like
really
not going to be good at all.
However, for the Commanders, we're gonna have to see what happened with Jaden Daniels.
His mom already tweeted. She said he's fine.
Okay.
That happened during
cool.
the game. Adam Schefter like updated. He's like, or it was one of the insiders. They're like, from Jaden Daniels' mom, and it was just a quote tweet of her just saying he's fine.
Well, if mom says so, I do feel good for our old friend Cornelius Lucas.
Cornelius Lucas.
He's on the Commanders.
He's still with the Commanders.
I think we need to
tackle 3 or 4 on that depth chart.
I think we have to have a serious conversation that if Marcus Mariota can lead Washington to a 47 victory, is it really Jaden Daniels even that good?
Oh boy.
I don't know.
So Jeremy has pivoted from running backs don't matter to quarterbacks don't matter.
He's a system quarterback.
Oh my goodness.
Something to really do on a day where Brock Purdy really got fucking exposed.
Tough. Man, they're going to be 3-4.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 49, I mean, the West might be the worst division this year.
That's crazy.
I'm still going to give it to the South. They have the Panthers and the Saints.
Yeah.
Sure, but there is an outside chance the Falcons clean up their act and they do be like, you at least get like close to maybe they're in play in December, but like
maybe, but I think
after
Seahawks
the
49ers are going to make it.
But I don't see the Seahawks as that much of a threat as the Buccaneers, I guess. Maybe it's because we beat them.
What's crazy about the Falcons?
Yeah.
So they're 4-3. They're 3-0 in the division.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 4-3 with a negative 6-point differential. It's like the Kirk Cousins special.
It's kind of true.
They're 4. That 3-0 in the division is on back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
They played 3 straight divisional games. And and next week they're going to play another. They're on the road at Bucks.
They had no business winning that first Bucks game. I think the Bucks might blow them out next week.
Oh yeah, the game that happened in
Thursday
Atlanta.
night. Yeah,
the
Thursday night.
500-yard passing performance from Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. The Kadarius
capped
Hodge.
off by a Kadarius Hodge, Lions legend.
Kadarius.
I did have one more alert. Light Horse. No, I had 2 more. Light Horse, thank you for the 25 months, says, love the way this team is overcoming situations that they once blew games on, 100%. And then Lion in London, 5 gifted subs. We haven't been on the gifted sub train in a while. Appreciate you, Lion in London. Thank you for the 5 gifties. What's our... I can't see. We're almost at 400 subtotals, which is great. Appreciate y'all. Save that money for next month, though. I'll say that.
I just find
November
it surreal,
around the corner.
man. I just find it so surreal that like everything that could have spooked me about this game, we still have a win.
That's what good teams do. I mean, you want to talk about how it doesn't feel like the Chiefs are playing good football, yet they're finding ways to win. Like that's what this was. The Lions certainly didn't play their best game of football. They made a ton of errors, really, in every quarter outside of the second. And yet, despite making a very huge error at the very end of the game, they still come back and win it. Like that's what good teams do.
Just win, baby.
That's what great teams do, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I ever felt like the Lions were the best team in the NFL last year.
It never did. Because here's the rub that the Lions got of last year. They did not beat a lot of good teams. And that was relatively true for most of the season. There's a couple here and there. But this was a huge win on the road against a team that, for a large portion of the game, they looked like the better team then. Mm-hmm. And you look around the team, who has a better offense than the Lions right now? Nobody. The answer is nobody. And to me, it doesn't even look close. Defensively, they got some questions to answer. But if you're able to hang 30 on the best defense in football after hanging 40 on what was the best defense in football in Seattle, and then hang another 40 on a really good defensive coordinator in Dallas, you've got the best offense in football, period. And that can take you anywhere.
I can trust the Lions, and then from the AFC, I can maybe... I want to say I can trust... I was going to say Ravens. But...
Chiefs and Ravens, I think. You can probably trust.
I mean, I want to make the case for the Bills, but I need to have them stack a couple more. But the Ravens... No.
Ryan's not a believer.
Ryan's not a believer?
I kind of am.
I have question marks. They're losing 10-7 at halftime at home to the Titans, who were led by Mason Rudolph. So I just think they're very... I think they're very...
34-10.
I know, but I think very much... I think that their team is one of those teams that, like, they can turn it on when they want to. But, like, I think the Ravens game that they played earlier in the year was a prime example of, like, are you heavy enough up front to deal with a running team? And that's what you're going to run into in January, you know? Yeah. So...
But I guess that's the other offense I would give to you, Jeremy, is the Ravens offense. Like, that is...
Yeah.
That feels like the other complete offense in the NFL right now.
They feel those two are in a tier on their own.
Yeah. That's fair. 35 points, 41 points, 30 points for the Ravens. They're not... No, they play.
Well, it's just... That's once again...
That should be a fun game tomorrow.
That's going to be a great game tomorrow.
Which one?
Ravens-Bucks in Tampa.
Please tell me that's not the ES... Oh, is that that's not the ESPN Plus exclusive? Okay, no. Good. It's not that. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what the other. I know they're double.
Chargers, Cardinals. Chargers, Cardinals. Yeah.
Go Chargers.
I still want to watch that game. I'm still kind of miffed that it's only on Yes, I might have fantasy implications with. Actually, no, Quentin Johnson isn't playing. Never mind. But still, I want to watch it. I mean, well, I'm out West Coast, so I kind of have an interest in the Chargers. So
Interesting.
but I think the main, that main game is Ravens Bucks. Yeah.
Didn't know you were such a Jim Harbaugh guy.
How can you not be a Jim Harbaugh guy after watching what the shit the Michigan Wolverines are doing right now?
Do you want to talk about college teams?
Probably
and shit?
not.
You
Probably
really want
not.
to talk about? You really want to talk about college teams and shit? You want to talk about the diametric opposite of grit and Dan Campbell? You want to talk about a team that massively shits the bed in the second half?
Oh gosh.
Good, because this isn't a USC Trojans podcast. We can talk about something else.
They literally got dunked on.
Holy fucking shit, man. Holy fucking shit. That's all I can say.
The kneel down celebration, phenomenal.
I hate everything.
Hey, you've seen it, right, Ryan?
Everything.
Yeah, the Terrapin. Was it Maryland?
It was Maryland. It was Maryland. We
Oh,
lost to effing
yeah.
Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the alley oop, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, I took video of that and it went crazy. It went Laura Schlick crazy.
Oh gosh.
I'll kill you.
Oh man.
And the funny thing is, like, it got so big that like it got to USC Twitter. And like,
no.
was that the first celebration you've ever seen?
Oh, big man.
Oh, you salty.
Big man.
You
Big
salt.
man.
I hate everything. Tarmac. I was calling for the tarmac.
Yeah, guys, can't relate. I mean, I've always been a staunch Michigan State fan, and I've never said that I don't care about what they do anymore. What a big win over Iowa. Go Grizz.
27,000 likes.
Dang.
I always said that Indiana and Oregon, they are the lords of the Big Ten.
Right,
Indiana,
Jeremy?
what's going on? I've not seen a second of Indiana football, but
They're 7-0, baby.
are they about to win the Big Ten?
They fucking trucked Nebraska.
We inherit the freaking Pac-12 and all help. Like, you bring Pac-12 after dark bullshit to the Big Ten. Now Indiana's good.
You're infected now. Good luck.
Yeah, aren't the three remaining undefeated teams Army, Navy, and Indiana?
Yeah. Here's a fun
What?
thought experiment for you. Here's a fun thought experiment for you.
Yeah.
Army and Navy, if they're 1 and 2 in the AAC,
Yeah.
they
they'll
play the championship game,
Mhm.
but then that next week, Commander-in-Chief trophy.
Yeah, they play each other after
I don't-
potentially.
Yeah, I don't think the rankings have ever been updated for the playoffs to reflect after the Army-Navy game.
I thought I read or heard something that said that game isn't going to be like taken into consideration, basically.
Good, because like playing Army and Navy having to play 2 games back-to-back weeks, good chance they split that and screw it up for both of them. I want one of these teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, you got to just take the undefeated team and let them.
Yeah. And I'm happy with either. I kind of root a little bit for Army because Jeff Monken was the coach of Georgia Southern, and that was a team I enjoyed watching when I lived down in Savannah.
And aren't they back to like running the triple option?
Jeff Monken's entire thing is the triple option. Like that's why he was hired from Georgia Southern. Was like Georgia Southern was like you talk about Paul Johnson and Ken Niumatalolo, like they all came from Georgia Southern coaching staff. Like Georgia Southern was kind of until like some recently they were always the triple option like hub. So yeah, like Jeff Monken has run the triple option for like 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Brett, I think we're great.
Hold on, Brett. So Brett
Hey,
Whitefield,
Brett.
our good friend, is in the chat. He just sent in his PODD article for tomorrow, and I want to bring up something that I didn't read the entire article, but he has a sub headline that might interest you, Ryan, because it matches a take you had in the first segment, which is quote from Brett: "Did we just see Goff's best game yet?"
That's what I said, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a Pride of Detroit Direct subscriber, you're going to hear Brett's argument tomorrow morning.
Great minds.
Hell yeah.
Something, something. Oh, dude. I've never existed in a world in which the Detroit Lions are the best team in football. And now I do.
You hadn't. Yeah, that's... You hadn't.
And still the best thing to talk about in Detroit sports.
By far.
This is crazy.
Don't need to bring up the Red Wings.
Hey, they're on a one-game winning streak.
How did Jake Bates make that kick when I was shaking?
Very carefully. Very
I think
carefully.
we need to talk a little bit more about him to maybe start off the
I
second
think
segment
we
here.
do.
Yes, I was planning on that, and then where we go from there, just defense and
Yeah, we'll point out some other individuals. We talked Goff, we talked Gibbs.
a little bit
But
of
I'm sure
Gibbs,
there are
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Probably need more branch talk.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more branch talk, that's for sure.
All right, well, let's get to it.
Yeah. Then we'll just end. We'll end with Max Crosby, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get everyone out here because I'm sure everyone wants to watch this Sunday Night Football. No, you fucking don't. Don't fucking kid yourself. Nobody's watching this Sunday night game unless you have money on it. What? That's what kills the conversation?
No, I was just pausing to get back into the show. I thought that's what we were doing.
Okay.
As was I.
Okay. That's fine.
I want to watch the Jets again. I never get sick of them on primetime. Not at all.
I can't wait to see Aaron Rodgers target Devontae Adams 14 times in this game and give Garrett Wilson a complex.
Garrett Wilson. It's going to be like revolving door trades. This is going to be like Devontae Adams demanded a trade to the Jets, and now next week Garrett Wilson is going to demand a trade from the Jets. Which are going to be like, Garrett, I don't even think we can do that. You're still on a rookie deal.
Bradshaw just called him Jim Bates.
Who's Jim Bates?
I imagine he meant Jake Bates.
I know, but I want to see.
I don't know if that's an actual person. Is that a person?
Yes.
It's Terry. It's fine.
A former football coach, defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
There you go.
Okay. Welcome back to the Pride to Detroit POD cast. Still basking in the glow of this game. Going to be kind of hard a little bit to dive down to the nitty gritty, but we do have to analyze this game as we always do. So let's start with Jake Bates. Let's start with the man of the hour, the winning points in this game. Let's talk about the stones on him. And I love the culture that's like swum up around Jake Bates, which happens to include apparently the entire Michigan Panthers UFL account becoming a stand account for a NFL kicker while they're in their off season. It's kind of pure and beautiful, if you ask me.
Definitely. But man, I mean,
yeah.
What can you say about Jake Bates, man? Like, he had kind of an iffy end to his Michigan Panthers career. Missed more kicks than he made, I think, in his final 6 attempts. Didn't have a great training camp. I went into the season very, very nervous. And the man is 10 for 10 on field goals. And he just made a huge kick in a hostile environment with more pressure than he's ever had in any single game.
Ever in his entire life.
Ever in his entire life. And he drilled it, man. Like, there was no doubt with that kick. It wasn't squeaking in or anything like that. I'm not ready to crown the guy as like, okay, he's our long-term kicker because it's still a small sample size, but you could not have asked for a better start to the season for a guy that I thought was going to cost the Detroit Lions football games this year.
Yeah, look, there's more established kickers out there that are having worse seasons. Just ask the Jets and Greg Zuerlein. Like,
I mean, just ask what the Packers had to do. They had to move on from their rookie kicker because he was really, really bad, unfortunately, and missed a lot of kicks. And what did they
Yeah.
have to do? They had to turn to Brandon McManus.
He did win them the game
That's a name I
today,
haven't heard in a
though.
long time. Look, I think this is unfortunately the nature of kickers, though. It's not even what have you done for me lately. It's what have you done for me 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
It's like the first kick he misses will be the worst thing ever to happen. And I just want a little bit of context for it. And it's why I brought up at the start of the season how like green he is still at kicking kicks and why the staff has said they're going to stick by with him for the development for the entire season. It's because of a situation like this, because they know he can drill very well from very far and he responds well under pressure.
Yeah, but today wasn't that day where he missed that kick. He made that kick, and he should get all the credit in the world for that.
No
And
question.
you want to talk about building confidence as a kicker. Let's see where this goes from here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is if you think about it, when you think about the way that kickers come in and out of this league, and they're on a team one week, and then a month later they're on the waiver wire. It's because of like moments like this, and when you capitalize and when you execute and when you hit these big field goals, you're gonna stick around.
And I think the Lions' patience should be praised in this moment because they're way more
Yeah.
patient than I am, right? I probably would have been searching for kickers on the waiver wire after initial roster cuts to at least bring in competition. And while the Lions eventually did have competition, they've apparently seen enough out of Jake Bates in the past month and a half, both probably on the field and in practice, to say, this is our guy. We're pretty comfortable with this guy. And they've been rewarded with that patience. And I think it also speaks to, I mean, we talk about how they're a draft and develop team and they've developed a lot of their players. Well, I think that can now extend to Jake Bates. And again, small sample size early in his career, we'll see. But they said it from the beginning, like this guy has the right mentality. He has the ice in his veins mentality that you need for a kicker. It's just a matter of let's get the skill set where it needs to be. And again, 10 for 10 for the season. That's perfection. He missed an extra point.
Yeah.
So what? He's 10 for 10
Oh, no.
on extra points, including a couple very big kicks, right? Like he had a big kick, I believe it was in the Rams game too. He's made a couple of very good, not easy kicks, and he deserves to be praised for it.
Not the first time I think the patience for the Detroit Lions is going to come up again come up in this segment of this podcast, Ryan.
Yeah,
Any other final notes here, or should we move on to the next point?
nice job, Jake Bates. Just need to know if he's a chicken bake or a double chunk chocolate cookie guy.
I really want a chicken bake right now. Anyway, by the way, no, you know what? Never mind. It was a funny tweet, but it was deleted by an admin, so I'm not going to say anything. Let's give it up for Brian Branch, because I want to swing to the defense. I don't think there's a lot of bright spots. What's up? What'd I do?
Defensive Player of the Week, Brian Branch. Just want you to. It's his title.
Very good running. That man, we were talking a little bit about high safeties last segment, Jeremy. The Lions being blessed with these two back there is phenomenal. And having Branch back healthy and once again, just hawking routes, he's great. I thought the DBs in general, this was a very good day for them. I know there were a couple off the top. I can't hate on that entirely just because you're dealing with these quality of, look, you're dealing with, I think you talked about it, Jeremy. You said that the Seahawks were the best wide receiver core. I thought the Vikings were probably in that consideration
They're up there.
of what the Lions were going to play. But like, again, there wasn't, I guess if this was started earlier in the season, I would have expected more a back-breaking DPI or something. There was nothing like that out here. And where they really needed it later in the game, they were breaking up some of those passes they needed.
Well, they weren't because Brian Branch had 2 pass breakups and the rest of the team had 0.
Really? Am I okay? Yeah. Well, I'm looking at Branch then. Okay.
Right. Well, listen, let's start with Branch because he's absolutely worth celebrating. I think he's got phenomenal instincts. Back-to-back weeks with diving interceptions. The man is playing out of his mind, and I'm not there yet. Eric seems to think he's working his way into Defensive Player of the Year category. The problem with that is you have to have all of the interception numbers, I think. And listen, he's got, 4 now? 3 now? Whatever it is. He's close. He's getting there. But the point being is he's outstanding, and every single one of us, including myself, that doubted his move from nickel to safety was wrong. He's making more plays. He's not leaving the field. He's winning the team games.
Yeah, it's why I was confident in his move to safety, because this was his natural position at Alabama. Like, I love this. I love it all, Ryan.
Yeah, Brian Branch, fantastic. And it just goes to show, I think the one game that we thought was kind of a squeaky wheel was the Seahawks and how they were able to effortlessly move the football up and down the field. They didn't have Brian for that game, and Branch in the past 2 games has been the most important player on the Lions defense, hands down. I mean, we were a little we were a literal heel away from Brian Branch having a scoop and score touchdown in this game too. So,
but if I can expand to the rest of the secondary, and I don't think this is entirely their fault, because I think the pass rush needs to be involved in this conversation too. There was a little bit too much happening in the pass game. And listen, the Vikings have, like you said, one of the best receiving corps in football. They moved Justin Jefferson around, so it wasn't just Carlton Davis that had to cover him. It was Amik Robertson a few times. It was Terrion Arnold who had to cover him a few times. And they struggled. Like, they gave it to me.
Sam Darnold wants to throw that football too. Like, that's where he's made the money.
Does.
He wants
He's
to
a
have
deep
those
shot.
step up in the pocket,
Right.
make those pass kind of guy.
But they gave up too many big plays in this game. They gave up a 50-yarder. They gave up the 30-whatever-yarder to Justin Jefferson for the touchdown on Amik. And I think it's a mixture of everything, because there were times, yes, when I thought the Lions secondary played very well. Like, they were playing zone coverage a lot in this game, and it caused a lot of issues for Sam Darnold when he's holding on to the ball forever. He tends to hold on to the ball for a lot anyways, but he's holding on to the ball a lot. He had to scramble a few times. Eventually, the Lions got home for a couple sacks. But to me, it just, like, the pass rush and the secondary was not working in harmony like they had been through the first 5 games. I thought Darnold had way too much time. They tried sending blitzes all of the time. It felt like there was a linebacker blitzing on almost every passing play there was, and it didn't get home enough. It just didn't. And so that puts more stress on your defensive backs. Darnold goes 22 of 27, which is, 22 of 27 for 259 and a touchdown. That's a pretty darn good day for a passer. 9.6 yards per attempt, 103 passer rating. Like, that's a very good day. And there is a little bit of like, hey, you have to give credit to the other team. Kevin O'Connell's a really good coach. Sam Darnold's having a heck of a year. They have really good receivers. But I think if you went into this game hoping, let's see how this defense does without Aiden Hutchinson, I want to be reassured. I don't think you got reassured today.
But again, I don't know how much I can put on DBs on that when it is the pass rush that is
it's everything.
neutered in a lot of ways.
100%.
But also too, like you mentioned the times where Darnold's holding onto the ball, like that's where I get a little bit more of a positive feeling, just because it's like, okay, well, guess what? That means that those 4 guys back there have covered everything. And Darnold is like going through his progressions and short circuiting a little bit.
Fair. Totally fair.
Yeah. And I think also to that point, I'd be really interested to see what Sam Darnold's time to throw was today versus what it's been in other games, because I have to imagine, there are a few times where it was just 1,000, 2 1,000,
right.
3 1,000, like, okay, like they're not getting through at all whatsoever. And that's what Chris said. That's where the Vikings want to be. They want to be making explosive plays, and they had some of those develop. I will say that the throw to Jefferson on his touchdown was a bit of a dot. Like, that was a really good throw. I thought Amik got his head turned around in time to make a play, but the ball was just where he couldn't be. So, you just kind of like tip your hat to that. The thing that I was most confused about watching the defense, and it was clear, they're trying to build this plane in the air. You know what I mean? They lose Hutchinson last week. This is the test. You're going into Minnesota. You got to play the Vikings.
Yeah. We talked about it all week. Like suddenly you're without your super weapon and you've got to moneyball something together. And whatever help may or may not come from Holmes, you're not getting it for here for the Vikings.
Yeah,
This is what you have.
dude, like there were times. I mean, credit where credit's due. Josh Pascal, that guy got banged up, came back in the game, had a sack, like was still trying to make plays. But it's Makai Wingo who's playing on the edge and dropping into coverage,
Pat
and I'm
O'Connor.
scratching my
Yeah.
head, and it's Pat O'Connor, and it's like, oh, the drop off is a bit real. I will say,
Yeah.
Uku had an incredible play where he stuck right with Aaron Jones on a design screen
Yep.
where they were just betting that they could get him some eye candy. No one's going to block him. He's going to want to rush the quarterback, and we're going to get exactly what we want.
And-
That was a very heads up play. Like, so there were some encouraging things,
No question.
but I don't know if we walked out of this thing with answers saying like, oh, this is the pass rush plan for the Detroit Lions moving
And-
forward. Because Chris, if it continues to be delayed linebacker blitzes, which are maybe my least favorite, I don't
And
think that's the
Darnold's
answer
really
to
good
it.
against those too. Darnold is really good against the blitz and like picked those up like immediately on one of those touchdowns. Um, the other problem with this too is it's not just the D line. Like I'm gonna give this. We brought this up on the Purview podcast, but like with Derek Barnes gone, this also means now you've double complicated your issue on setting the edge because there's really no one there for
They're
that.
depleted on the edge.
Yeah.
There's
Depleted.
no Marcus
completely.
Davenport. They're
Right.
missing 3 starters from their defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, all on the edges, and
so-
like yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I think it's a really important point that Ryan made. Like, they're trying things out right now. They weren't gonna have everything figured out in this game, and a lot of this was like trial by error. Like, let's see what works, let's see what doesn't work, and we'll adjust as we go. And
In a high pressure spot, the toughest spot you could imagine. Next week would have been great to try this
Right.
stuff versus the Titans,
Right.
right?
yeah, but
The
I don't know.
yeah.
Like, maybe the Lions got the information that they needed to go out and make a big trade. Maybe they got the information they needed to say, okay, let's give this guy playing time. Let's not give this guy playing time. But to me, like, there's some adjustments that still need to be made, and that's not necessarily a revelation considering the injury situation that they're in. But they need to be better than they were today, I think, if they're going to win a Super Bowl.
What did you think about the run defense? Because I thought there was some uncharacteristic up the middle for Aaron Jones. But the Lions, I mean, again, the Vikings kind of have to throw the ball a little bit more to get back into it as the clock works against them. But
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a great game, Ryan, from the run defense for at least probably about a half or so.
Again, this game couldn't have started any worse when you have
You're
Aaron
right.
Jones run right off the edge, 30 some yards for a touchdown. Everybody immediately goes, "Oh my gosh, this is what's going to happen with no Aiden Hutchinson, Jeremy." But I think
Even though it wasn't
Runs,
really the Edge's fault.
right, yeah, Terry and Arnold again peeking in the backfield, but with the Lions' run defense, I think to Chris's point, the uncharacteristic part of it, Aaron Jones was getting a lot of work between the tackles, and he was moving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they settled down, obviously, a little bit, the Lions in general. You know, you give up the 34-yarder to start the game, and they have 105 the rest of the way, which is okay. It's not good. It's not what we've become accustomed to with this Lions defense, but
Yeah.
this is why when I wrote my preview, I'm like, if Aaron Jones is in, this could be a very tight matchup. If he's not in, the Lions got this. And they didn't have it because Aaron Jones is a very good running back. I think in general, like, I think if you would look at like the success rate of this game, the Lions would have a pretty good number because I think a lot of those runs did end up going for 3 yards or less. It's just there were more 10-yard runs than we've come to expect. There was a 30-yard run.
There's some chunk runs.
There were some chunk runs, which, yeah, not very characteristic of this defense. I'll have to go back and look and see what the problem was. Was it that, DJ Reader can't play 70% of the snaps at this point of his career? I still think Aleem had a really good game. Like, I know he didn't have a sack in this game, but like he was still pushing that pocket from the middle. That is the part of the defensive line that I'm not worried about.
Drew that holding penalty too.
Yep. And also, including in this whole conversation that we've kind of overlooked, Vikings have 2 really good offensive tackles. So
Yeah.
this was like you said, this was kind of like the most unideal week for you to be figuring out what's going on the edge because it's a high pressure game. It's a divisional matchup. It's on the road. It's against two really good offensive tackles. Hopefully, when they play some lesser teams like, I don't know, the Tennessee Titans next week, things look a little bit better.
Yeah. And I think, again, and I'll say it again, compounding that too, is that I still think even still this linebacker group was kind of a bit of a work in progress too. See, we saw some looks from Nowoski, up and down game from Anzalone. What'd you think of Rodrigo and Jack Campbell in this game?
I thought Rodrigo was making some plays, man.
I thought
He was
this
he-
was
he-
the most I've seen him, recognized him
Mhm.
on a live viewing, maybe ever.
I know. That was my feeling too. I remember tweeting out Rodrigo's making defensive plays, right?
Jack
Because for
Campbell,
a
too,
while,
honestly.
Yeah, both Campbell and Rodrigo both had quarterback hits in this game, I believe.
but I even think what was most special about them today was their coverage and limiting the stuff over the middle that was
Yes.
short.
Yep.
It was a lot of like Anzalone click and close, boom, like 2 yards, 3 yards. It's still 2nd and 7. You know, we're still giving our defense a chance to get into a
Yeah.
a third and tough spot for you on offense. And I think the Lions did that a lot today.
I agree.
And it was kind of credit to that.
Really good point.
Yeah. Where else can we really go with this?
Did we
I
already
just-
talk about the offensive line? We did, right?
No, we actually haven't. And
Yodi.
let me just, yeah, I'm sorry. After that Seahawks game where Awasika, it looked like he was putting things together. Ultimately, that's what it looks like when it's we talk about this, Ryan. There's no such thing as offensive line depth in the NFL. They can have a good game starting in for the Seahawks, and then you're cold again for a couple games. Then you're asked to step back in against the Minnesota Vikings. I feel like, especially early on in the game, if anyone was having trouble with the coverages that Flores was flashing, it was Coyote.
Truth be told,
Which,
I mean,
I mean,
Taylor,
fair.
Taylor Decker got a couple times.
Not a good game from him, yeah.
I think
the-
he was worse than Aushik, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah, really?
I think Decker had a really tough game. Like, and even in some situations where it was one pass rush move that was like breaking the hands, you know, the old Napoleon Dynamite, break the hands and walk away.
Right.
The thing that I want to say about Yodi though is even Penei Sewell got flagged for a false start in this game. Like
Yeah.
that is a very tough place to play, and a lot of Yodi's mistakes as far as procedural stuff, I think were more early on in the game.
Yeah.
But
Like
Jeremy,
Yodi kind of settled in, right? Like Yodi
did.
was
He did.
really, really bad in the first half, maybe just the first quarter, but he settled in.
yeah,
Yeah.
but Taylor Decker got a couple
Yeah.
times in this game.
And that's the weird thing about this game, and it goes back to how good I think Jared Goff was. Like none of it seemed like confusion. None of it seemed like the offensive line was put in the wrong position. It was Taylor Decker losing his one-on-one. It was Aushika losing his one-on-one. It happened a little bit early in the game, but I think in general, the offensive line was in the right spots to make the right plays. They just had, I mean, not all of them. I think Frank is fine. I think Penei is fine. I wouldn't say Graham was great in this game either, but in general, I think the problem with the offensive line was just the offensive line wasn't playing its best football. And
Yeah.
hopefully when Zeitler's back, which based on how hard he was practicing with a trainer on Friday, I don't think he's going to be gone long. So
This feels like it was kind of precautionary rest, if nothing else.
I think so. So I don't know. The good news is when the Lions' offensive line sucks, they usually lose those games. They didn't lose this one.
Yeah, and
And again, I feel like a lot of that also was Jared Goff just moving around the pocket a little bit better. Ryan, I'm not going to expect Jared Goff to extend plays out of it, but as the pocket's collapsing, he can step up in this. He was stepping up in this game into that pocket and not being afraid. And again, I'm going to go back to in any other situation that was a strip sack, and he's perfectly fine throwing it.
yeah, Hendon Hooker has to coach up Jared Goff on how to slide because he took one bad hit early on in the game where he didn't slide, and I was like, oh, you can't be taking those.
Speaking of slides, going back to Branch a second,
He barely touched him.
I know, but if they had flagged him for that, I would have lost it.
He was so clearly trying to avoid him.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold like laying on the ground. Bad look for Sam Darnold. Tough look for the former favorite for MVP. But I think that's the thing about the offensive line though that I'm so encouraged about is that when one piece gets taken out, like they can still do enough to make it work.
Yep.
And you know, the tackle depth, hopefully that doesn't ever have to be challenged, but Taylor Decker, man, like is he hurt right now? Like there's just something about his game that he kind of just seems like a step slow. I don't want to say it's age, like he's
I
not.
mean, I feel like some of this is just like tip your head a little bit to Jonathan Grenard. Like he's a very good pass rusher.
Yeah,
Again, like part of
yeah,
this is that's a good Vikings defense. Like they were number one in DVOA coming into this game for this
they
week
were.
on
Yeah,
on defensive DVOA. Like this
Pass defense, run defense, both.
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that is why I also kind of thought this was Jared Goff's best game. The way that he was standing in there and, you know, not making mistakes in the face of pressure for the most part. Like, credit where credit's due. Again, Lions are the best team in football.
So
Welcome to 2024.
I know. Well, taking a look around the league, as you say, like this was also important because as we're learning, nothing is letting up in the NFC North at this point. Packers won again. Bears sat pat, but nobody has more than two
Vikings
losses
lost.
in this division. Well, yes, yes, Jeremy, yes.
Okay.
The Vikings did lose. Yes, I did.
Just
I
want to
just
make that clear.
word that okay? Adequate. Whatever. I'm not even.
No,
Gonna,
that is not on
people are
you.
going. People are going to scream at me regardless.
That
Because,
was not on you. I was just making a joke.
okay.
Can I ask you guys
yeah.
a quick question?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sure. I'll table everything I had. Yeah. Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
No. Go.
Oh,
To make this more awkward than it is.
I'll just go. I don't have anything, but I'll go.
okay.
Okay.
Will Week 18 decide the division?
Ooh.
I hope not. I hope to be able to pull out some of these saved Viking fan tweets before week 18.
Yeah, that would be the hope, right?
Receipts. Yeah. But man, it really feels like it, don't it? It feels like that week 18 is going to be very significant.
I have like a interesting follow-up question too, though. But I want to know, Chris, are you saying that you're taking the hard stance of that you just hope it's not?
I am taking the hard stance of I would like to start quote tweeting certain Vikings fan blogs before week 18. That's all.
I'm gonna say no, and I'm not gonna explain myself.
You're gonna say no. Okay. My
say
only
no.
other quick interesting follow-up would be if the Lions had the division wrapped up, but they had an opportunity to keep the Vikings out of the playoffs, would you want the Lions to play their starters?
Are we assuming they have like the first seed locked up as well?
Sure. They are the best team in football after all.
That's right.
None of this is gonna come back to bite us in the butt, I'm sure.
No. If they have the first seed locked up, I think they should rest their starters
Okay. Interesting.
and
Chris?
beat
just
them with
doesn't-
their
it just
backups.
It just does not seem like a team that is in the business of resting starters anyway.
That's true.
But
I mean, they didn't last
also,
year.
They
as
didn't
we've
last
learned,
year, yeah.
I will say this. Also, as we learned from the Cowboys game, this team does not give up on Petty. So I'm going to thus because of that second point say no, they will not rest their starters and they will go out and try to hand Minnesota a loss to humble them.
Mm.
I feel
Okay.
like I feel like the Vikings. I don't know if the Lions are going to have any petty they can use against the Vikings. The Vikings can certainly use a lot of petty against the Lions, and I kind of thought maybe we'd see that a little bit in this game. Maybe that's what their hot start was all about. But we beat them 3 times in a row now.
This is the Vikings coming off a bye. Yeah.
Oh, right,
Four
'cause-
straight. Yeah, 4 straight.
The Penei Sewell.
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
down in Ford Field. Oh yeah.
Dang.
I've completely forgotten where oh right. So all right, let's set the division for a side because again, the Lions are playing the Titans next week. And then it'll be on to dealing with the Packers and getting the first look there about whatever the hell has been going on with Green Bay. I still got questions about Green Bay. I still got a lot of questions. Besides just why do you have all white uniforms? But we've kind of been dancing around the Hutchinson thing. And I know that, Ryan, you were of the belief the Lions were never in play for Hassan Reddick. He gets his contract regardless. today. There's some questions still around some other targets. I believe Schefter had a very mealy mouth, like, oh, like the Lions are interested in Zadarius
It
Smith, but
wasn't
the
even
Browns.
that. It
It
wasn't
was
even
like,
that. It was the Lions could go after Zadarius Smith.
oh,
It was
yeah,
not,
yeah. That's
it wasn't even the Lions have interest. It was just, hey, here's a name.
fucking like a 9 out of 10 on the Josina Anderson scale of nothing burger going on here, of hedging everything you're saying.
Right.
Brave and bold of you to
Yeah.
challenge Josina Anderson online, Chris.
What is she gonna do to me? I am beyond irrelevant at this point. Like nobody cares about me. My point, I don't even remember the question I was going to say, but like, where are we still standing on the Hutchinson question? Because as we've kind of laid out,
Yeah.
there's a lot of work in progress. I'm still of the belief they moneyball this, but trust me, this entire week has been a lot of hearing the words "Lions are in win now," and you've got to make a deal.
I think they need to add talent. Just like at the very bare minimum, they need bodies at edge. Like once Josh Pascal got injured, did you guys know who was going to go in? Because I didn't. Like they don't have the options, and I know they like Isaiah Thomas, and he's probably going to get some playing time since he's on the 53. But like all my eggs are in Zadarius Smith basket at this point. Like he seems like you can probably get him for a 5th or 6th round pick. We know he can rush the passer. Yes, he's not in his prime by any means, but he's a guy that's capable. And that's all I need, man. Like, just give me a capable guy out there that can win some one-on-ones every now and then. And he's big, he's physical, he fits what the Lions want. You get him for a year and a half, too. So, like, you don't have the edge rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson locked up for 2025, right? Marcus Davenport is not necessarily going to be that guy. I'm not so sure Josh Pascal is going to be a full-time starter. Maybe they prefer him as a rotational guy. So Zadarius Smith gets you a year and a half of protection at a position that you need, and you especially need it right now. So that's my guy right now.
Yeah. Plus, he kind of just wants to come to the Lions, apparently, to
Get
back at everybody in the NFC North.
Yeah. Sorry we had to beat the Vikings without you, Zadarius, but you can come back and beat them in week. You can beat their backups or beat
week
with our
18.
backups. You and Hendon Hooker can beat up on the Vikings in week 18.
I kind of went back and forth with this yesterday, Chris, as I was thinking about would I want the Lions to do something splashy. And like initially I thought no. Like I don't want them to go do something that sacrifices a lot of their draft capital and the resources when it comes to what Brad Holmes used to make this team good in the first place. I still don't think I'm there. I'm at the point where I want Zadarius Smith and something else, as far as somebody who could be more of a Sam linebacker. Like I want the Lions to get 2 guys because I think they need 2 guys.
I think that
they
Sam
really
linebacker
do.
role is even more important, almost as important as like edge right now.
They're down 3 guys.
Yeah.
Right. They're down Davenport. They're down Hutchinson. They're down Barnes. I think it would be best of them. I'm still very much quantity over quality guy. I think I just want some more bodies in the room because right now they don't quite have it.
Pascal was kind of up and down in this game, and I don't know. I kind of got worried a couple times when he was getting rung up, Jeremy, because there is too many D linemen on IR right now.
It's a bad situation. There's no doubt about it. And you know, Uku is getting his feet wet and still very much an up and down game for him. I think Pascal is going to be good if he's not there already in terms of just his physicality, but I'm with you. This wasn't probably his best game. But yeah, I mean, the problem is who were we talking about after that? Like James Houston played in this game. Did any of you notice?
I think he had one quasi pressure.
He had a quasi pressure on the touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. He was kind of late. He was trying to bend the edge inside, and he didn't quite make it.
I feel like we closed the chapter on Houston a couple of games ago.
The thing that I was most interested in, especially on a rewatch, but on first watch, it didn't seem like Onwuzurike was playing much edge, and I didn't see him out there a ton. I feel like playing that spot.
Yeah,
and man, if he's not doing it, then like it. I was surprised to see Mekhi Wingo out there playing edge. I think There was even a play I thought that looked like Aleem was lined up on the edge, and I was like, they're just doing everything, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. That's when I thought this is what this week's about. I get it. Okay, like they're just figuring out what they can do. I
Yeah.
think they're figuring out that
They are.
they
I
don't
mean, they're
have
figuring
enough
out.
guys.
They're
Yeah.
figuring out what to do with Pecco's injury too, right? Like they kept talking about it this week. How I know everyone's talking about Aiden Hutchinson, but losing
Yeah.
Pecco is a big deal too. And maybe we get Broderick Martin back next week, at least returning to practice. But that probably doesn't mean he's going to play next week. That they're going to let him adjust there. They bring up Pat O'Connor this week. They talk up Chris Smith on the practice squad as well. I don't think they're going to fill a replacement there on the interior. I think they like their depth there, but it's also there are also gonna be some growing pains there, which is probably why the run defense wasn't where it normally is. There's so many shifting parts on that defensive line right now that it's gonna take some time to find the right combination. And it wasn't at its best today, but I think the guys in the room are gonna continue to improve, continue to grow chemistry between each other, but they still need to add at least one guy, in my opinion.
Well, the good news is for the Lions, is at least that the trade deadline is back on the 5th, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, so you still got, but it's pushed back. It's a further back deadline than usual.
Yep, it would usually be this week, this upcoming.
It would be this week, yeah. So they've got a little bit more time to feel it out, but I gotta feel like that feeling out's going to come soon enough. And I am moving a little bit closer to they're going to spend something. I just don't want them to spend a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'm being conservative on this. As I said last week, I would prefer that you trust the Lions way that got you here on, like, you want to spend your draft capital on draft.
Yeah, I mean they're not. I mean, it would be a very out of character move to make a Max Crosby, Myles Garrett type of move. It wouldn't. It doesn't fit what they've been all about, what they say they're all about. So I'm with you. I not only do I think that's what they should do because Brad Holmes is so dangerous with draft picks in his pocket, I think that's what they will end up doing.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see. And we'll keep an eye on everything here. Any final words before we get out of here?
What's your limit, though? Like, you wouldn't trade a first-round pick for Max Crosby?
No, I would, but
the
Raiders wouldn't do that.
No, I know. So, but then I'm saying, so it's like first round plus what is your deal breaker? Like, and you don't have to answer that. That's just rhetorical that I want people to sit with. Like, I think everybody is generally like a first round pick. Yes, but that's not going to get it done. Then what's your limit? Where are you willing to cut it off at?
Tag at Ryan_POD with your answers.
Yeah. Ryan being, no, listen. Ryan Matthews saying, set limits. Stick to your game plan.
Oh, yeah. And with those draft picks that you're sending, make sure you tag at Detroit Online with your mock drafts that you're doing.
Rude.
All right. Well, I want to watch this very thrilling Sunday night football matchup.
1-800-GAMBLE.
Gambler with an R.
Oh, that's why it hasn't been going through.
That's Ryan Matthews. Find him at Ryan_POD. He'll have all the picks and winners for you. Jeremy Reisman at Detroit Online. What was that for, Ryan? What did I do?
I'm just reading the chat.
Okay.
They're taking great humor out of your limit setting, and they're also offering 2 firsts and Scooble apparently for Max Crosby.
Are we doing cross? Well, the A's aren't in Vegas yet. Let's slow down a bit. And I am Chris Perfett at Chris Perfett on Twitter, where you can apparently yell at me for, I don't know, anything. Adequate. Guess what? It's another Lions win in the books. Enjoy Victory Monday. We'll see you Starside.
Recording stopped.
Hey, we made it. Dan Campbell and his Alex Anzalone face.
Hold on. That reminds me. I have for 2 weeks running had something really cool to wear, and I keep forgetting to wear it on a stream. So give me 2 seconds. Right?
Save it for November.
The guys.
What
the
is
cuff?
That? Is that a Lanny Kugel? Oh no, that's
No. It's a Coors Light and a Jack and Coke.
Is he wearing a kimono?
No, it's the cuff. It's just flipped back. Dude, it's impeccable. Like, come on, man. Dude, that's our head coach.
Wow. While we wait for Chris to do a costume change, let me finish up with some alerts here. Loveline69, they give her the 16 months as giving my wife some Jake Bates love tonight. A big boom straight through her uprights. Jesus Christ.
Whoa. You have to edit that out.
Oh, speaking of big booms. Explain yourself.
I found it in a flea market in Topanga Canyon.
I thought you were going to say you found it in a flea market in South Jersey.
It made its way over from South Jersey by way of probably Vegas.
We need to go full screen. Oh,
this has wanted to be my victory jacket for 2 weeks, and I keep forgetting it's in my closet now. I take one back when I said Chris looks on. Thank you. So I'm going to get the glasses. I have some chains here too. So yeah.
Let me get through the rest of these alerts real quick. Jeff Rizik, thank you for the follow or the subscription over on YouTube. Painmaker, 48 months subscribed to the channel. That's 4. Wait, yeah, it's 4 years. That's crazy.
It's great.
4 freaking years. Yasin, thank you for subscribing on YouTube. Joshua Mercer Hundabit says, I would trade a first and a third. The Raiders are desperate. If they don't take that or less, they can die on their hill with nothing. Thoughts, Ryan?
I just want to know if Max Crosby is doing the Devontae Adams thing and if he's kind of neutering the market. Because what if Max Crosby's like, you know what? I'd be cool if you traded me to Detroit, but otherwise I'm just cool being a Raider.
Oh. All right. Ryan Richard, thank you for this sub on YouTube as well. And we are caught up, which means we can hang out for a little bit here, but I think all of us probably at some point fairly soon want to chill out for a little bit. I definitely got to write a whole bunch for the newsletter. Got to give my grades out.
I got to eat a chicken bake or a double chunk chocolate.
Double chunk chocolate cookie. I did not know they had their own dance, and that makes me very sad.
I didn't realize it.
What is happening?
I'm just saying, like, this might be something redeemed from now on.
I didn't realize it in the moment after he made the kick because I didn't really see the celly, and I was really proud of Lions admin for, in the heat of the moment, noticing and recognizing it and tweeting it out.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Am Rochkind, thank you for subscribing on YouTube. And yeah, Detroit, 62 months subscribed to the channel. That's 5 years and change.
Chris, I think you need to be dressed like this for every podcast. If I'm being
for every win. The only problem is these glasses are so I can't see my second monitor at all.
You don't need to. You're talking.
I know.
Yeah. I think
someone called this the hangover jacket, so I'm
yeah.
I think we replaced I know we're gonna keep the Olive
Garden vibes.
It's magic.
Someone called you the adequate Tiger King.
I think this needs to be a rewards thing, Jeremy, for points to summon this.
Maybe this is a Movember thing.
To summon the adequate Tiger King.
To do we're gonna do like a Jersey Vegas thing. Me and Ryan got to dress up like old heads from. We should do a gambling show with us, just with like our best like poolside at the Bellagio look. I just realized the tag is still on this thing.
Or is it summon Jersey Chris? I don't know.
Jersey Chris.
Summon, as somebody else said, summon Tommy DeVito's agent.
Tommy DeVito's. I do not have a fedora for that.
Ryan, what's the most ridiculous piece of clothing you've ever owned?
Casino night.
The most ridiculous piece of clothing I've ever owned?
Yeah.
I had some black leather jeans back in college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
How often did you wear them?
Al Davis, Chris.
Well, so they were like wax. They're actually more like wax denim jeans,
Okay.
which they're I don't know, they're wild.
That
I
sounds
got
wild.
I bought them from Forever 21. They have a men's section.
I can't really complain too much about that because I bought a short sleeve hoodie from Forever 21.
Yeah,
It was like
exactly.
$13. Like,
Hey, I'd buy a short sleeve hoodie for $13. That's
Yeah.
a deal.
it was
Fast,
great.
fast fashion, baby.
Nero, thank you for the 5 months as Brian Branch is him. He sure is, man. It's
Capital
exciting.
H, right?
It's exciting to have that kind of playmaker on the defense again.
Sergeant Slaughter. I'm sorry. You guys are killing me a bit. I look like a Temu Sergeant Slaughter.
If Brian Branch is him, Jeremy, then we need a lot of we need more like he has risen memes when he's like making diving interceptions going backwards. Because that was number 4 today. I forgot that he had a pick in the Tampa game.
Yeah. He's got 4. So that ties him with Kirby, right?
I believe
Or does
so.
Kirby have 5? No, I think Kirby has 4.
Kirby has 4.
And Xavier has 5. Did he get one today? Xavier McKinney?
I hope not, because I wanted that stupid streak to break.
What was his streak? Just
It was, I thought it was like 8 straight games with an interception or something.
really?
Something like that. Yeah, he's been on a tear.
BBS 4. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, he definitely so Xavier didn't have one last week against Arizona.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like, yeah. So he got it up to 5 in a row when he got
Yeah.
the last one.
But did he have one today? I need to know. Nope, CG Stroud did not throw an interception. Jordan Love threw 2, by the way.
And I'm sure that ESPN NFL Live will talk about Jordan Love all week long.
Oh yeah. I'm already hearing like it's awesome. They found it. They're just stop questioning the Packers when it comes to quarterback. They figured it out. They've solved everything. Like I don't know about that one, Chief.
I have one question for you guys as a fan.
Okay.
How complicated on a scale of 1 to 10 would you have been today if you were a Cleveland Browns fan and saw what happened to Deshaun
I
Watson?
think their
I've been
opinions were
trying to
very
avoid this.
I think their opinions at the start of the game were very uncomplicated, Ryan. One of the very clarifying things, because we kind of went through this with Matt Patricia early on too, right? When you know someone is a just personal scumbag, people will still line up to defend them as long as they're winning. Well, as you heard, like those boos aren't because people just realized, hey, Deshaun Watson's a terrible human being. Those boos are because Deshaun Watson sucks as a football player. So things become a lot less complicated when those two things align, just like it did for Matt Patricia.
I still think it makes it complicated because it's an injury. But I'm not saying I'm not
Everyone
saying that,
celebrated that injury on Twitter. I saw everyone was celebrating that injury.
yeah, but I also know, and I'm not saying
He's
that
the one
right or-
exception.
I'm not saying that he's right or wrong,
Mhm.
but like Jameis Winston had a point post game too that like was that 2.5 minutes of him gaslighting me a little bit because of what we know about Deshaun Watson, the person, and him
Can
and Jameis Winston just protecting his teammate. I think like most teammates would.
Or was that Myles Garrett or was that Jameis Winston? Because I thought I saw Myles Garrett say something too.
He might have, but
no idea what you're talking about.
I know Jameis Winston did though. But
Okay.
again, I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying. I don't know. Do you cheer for a guy on your own team getting injured and his career probably ending? I don't.
No.
No. But I want to bring Ryan back a little bit, just with some tinfoil a bit. Found it very curious that today was the day they finally decided of all the moves to make out of left field, Dorian Thomas Robinson getting bumped up to QB2, and then the Achilles exploding.
What did they give a reasoning for making the move that they did?
No.
Is it just like we
Robert
understand
DTR
we're
was not
rebuilding?
good.
I mean, to me,
like what did Jameis Winston do other than remind people that he was too an alleged sexual predator?
I think it's probably what I just said, which is season's over. Dorian Thompson Robinson, let's just get him some reps to see where he's at. He can be your backup. Like, Jameis obviously would have given them a better chance to win, and I know DTR got injured in this game too, and Jameis Winston had to come in as the emergency quarterback, but
yeah,
we're living in a day in 2024 where Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota played snaps in football games.
So, but I guess my question to that is, and maybe that's part of Chris's tinfoil hat, is like, if you think that the season is out of hand and it's, hey, let's figure out who we have in DTR, you could have pulled the plug on Deshaun Watson and be like, look,
at any point,
look, like his shoulder is just really hurt.
Any point.
Putting him on season-ending IR, he's going to be on the shelf.
yeah,
He's going to go see a sports psychologist too.
I do feel like they were getting close.
Yeah.
I think maybe
to benching him.
Yes,
But like, how close? Because it's been like
we'll
bad.
never know.
Right. I guess. Yeah. I guess that's a great question. But like, I just wonder, like, why didn't you pull the plug sooner? And you could have fed people the same line, right? Like, Deshaun Watson's hurt. Dorian Thompson Robinson gives us the best opportunity to win right now.
Right.
The company line. Just stick to it. You're fine. Like, we have Jameis here in case, things get tough. Boom. Done. Easy. But I guess Deshaun Watson's Achilles made it easier for them to make that decision.
Yeah. I don't understand why it, like, again, all that took so long, and also like the reticence of Stefanski to say anything to this point too. Like, some of those Deshaun Watson is still our quarterback videos feel like hostage situations.
Right. That might not be Stefanski's decision to make. It might be
Which is
crazy.
It is, right? Yeah.
$1 billion.
But we're talking about a coach of the year having to do that.
No, we don't. We know. We don't need to
Two-time
relitigate.
Coach of the year.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh man. As someone who, like, again, that's the other team in Toledo is the Browns. I'm glad when the paths diverged, somehow the Lions ended up on a far better path.
They're the one that pulled themselves out of a crater, while the Browns had like one good season and then decided to self-destruct with a terrible decision.
Let's be honest. There were a lot of people in the pool for Deshaun Watson, regardless of what he did too.
Sure.
How many people were in the pool that completely counted out Baker Mayfield as a starting quarterback in the NFL? And the Cleveland Browns made that decision.
Yep.
Like, I'm not saying I don't think a lot of people thought they were wrong in their decision at the time.
They smeared him on the way out too. That's the crazy part too. It is, we need an adult in the room. They said that. They all, like, the Browns organization said that the reason they're moving on from Baker Mayfield is they need an adult in the room.
What a mistake. Like, just don't say anything, because if I'm Baker Mayfield, do you know how personal I take that?
120%.
It's not Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein's monster.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing in the chat, Russ is back. What did Russ do?
Only one way to find out.
15-yard pass.
End this
It's
podcast
early,
and
man.
watch.
That sounds like a threat.
It is.
A Jeremy Fowler quote. Did you see this tweet?
No.
No.
Quote from Michael Keaton talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Is he at the
Oh, yeah.
game talking?
He's from Pittsburgh.
Is there a Manning cast? A Keaton cast?
If there is, then why am I still here?
Your eyes just lit up the most I've ever seen them. Oh, he did an intro.
The quote was, the Steelers have had 3 coaches in 55 years. The Jets have what, 2 in the last 2 weeks.
Get him, Keaton. God, I hope they lose. I hope the Jets lose again tonight. I'm gonna hate watch this game. I should be working. I'm gonna hate watch the crap out of it.
Just imagine we could be potentially living tonight in a world where both the Jets and the Mets lose in the same night.
Oh, God.
Let's go for it.
But we're barreling towards a Subway Series, aren't we?
No.
If the Mets lose, then it's Dodgers Yankees.
I know, but
no, fuck the Mets.
Oh, like if the Mets win?
Yeah.
The Mets have to win 2 straight, which
who knows?
I thought it
maybe
was 2-2, wasn't
Grimace.
it?
It's 3-1.
3-2.
No, wait. It's 3-2. Yeah, but they have to win tonight and then tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever.
But never underestimate Grimace.
I'm not going to underestimate Shohei Ohtani.
Speaking of which, 100 bits from Joshua Mercer says, "Fuck Shohei Ohtani. What a crook."
Why? Come on. As much as I know people want to hate on the Dodgers, I can't keep calling him the whatever.
Dude, I think it is wild though that he definitely got away with it. He threw his interpreter under the bus for sure. There's no way. Baseball could not have handled that scandal.
And for it, baseball's going to get rewarded with either a Subway Series or Dodgers Yankees. You want to talk about scripted though, Ryan? Juan Soto coming up to the plate with 2 runners out. Like you just knew it was going to happen like that.
That was cool. I liked seeing the Guardians lose. That was fun.
Yeah, that was great. That was fantastic.
Especially after there was an Athletic piece that came out and it was like, I think I said this, but the tweet was like, they call it guards ball. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this going to be? They're like, oh, this is how we approach defensively and pitching it. Guards ball? You can't, it's like 4 tiers below dagger time. Like,
stop trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah, guards ball?
Guards ball.
Your mascot sucks.
They're still struggling in a post-Cleveland Indians world.
Oh,
They're named after a statue that only people who have been to Cleveland would understand. And even then, I don't understand it. I've seen the statue.
Just call them like the Cleveland Millennium Forces or like the Cleveland Top Thrill Dragsters. It's like the only
Cleveland Cedars.
I'm not going to do this pro bono. They would have to pay me to come up with a new nickname for them.
Cleveland Drew Carey's.
That's what I was going to say. Drew Carey's never been more relevant than ever for Cleveland.
Cleveland Rocks. Cleveland Rocks. There it is. The Cleveland Rocks.
Yeah, the
Honestly,
Cleveland Rocks.
I'm in. Yes.
But I want the mascot to be a rock that's painted to look like
Drew Carey.
Drew Carey, yeah.
Drew Carey. Or actually, did your high school probably had one of those rocks out there that people would just paint over and leave messages on?
Right. The fans get to do that, like kids who come to the game.
Well, I was just thinking of a permanent Drew Carey face, but sure, every now and then we could just paint over them each year.
Just put that on the mound. Just a big rock structure right in the middle of the mound.
Which baseball can do.
Allows.
Right?
It allows it.
Sport. The most insane sport where the playing surfaces are not all the same.
Yeah, Houston
The dimensions are not the same.
Houston has had a hill that will shred your knees if you try to run up at catching a fly ball. Like, that's just a thing they have.
You can do whatever you want.
Imagine if we had different end zones in the NFL.
Who? Yeah. Oh gosh.
We place the field goal in different areas of the end zone.
It'd be very like, it feels like something the CFL would do.
Wow. Some Canadian shots fired as well.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Time to get out of here.
Yeah.
And watch bad football. Can't
Yeah.
Real last one quick thing. We didn't even touch on Khalif Raymond this game. I just realized that.
He was a dog.
Second straight game too, really, because he had like 70 yards last week, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mentioning Canada is the only
73 yards
reason I remember Leaf.
Dude, I mean the touch.
Who's the dog?
Man. 3 for 39 and a tutty. And man, that one catch on, was it 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 9?
Yeah, something like that. 3rd and long for sure.
3rd and long, yeah.
That was a big boy throw and a big boy catch.
Mm-hmm.
And man, Tim Patrick running a dig route. It's like I don't even miss Josh Reynolds. And I don't even mean that in a bad way, but like, he's awesome too.
Lions got some ballers, dude, especially on offense.
Except for Jalen Reeves-Maybin, 1 carry, 1 yard. I thought he was going to pitch it, and I was like, the pitch isn't going to work, and that could be a turnover, so don't do that.
Well, he did turn it over either way.
It's very true.
One last note before we get out of here. I should probably start planning for it right now. Is that Sunday night is against Houston, I believe? In 3 weeks?
That is
Yes.
a primetime game, yes.
Yeah. Goes Titans, Packers, Texans.
I know we've talked about it before. I'm going to try to put the word out a little bit. I would like to get maybe a LA meetup. I know there's a lot of Lions fans around here, and I know someone pitched me a couple of different bars that Lions fans hang out for game day. So I'm usually pretty terrible about planning stuff, but
so someone else do it for us,
please. just to meet. I'm going to say in one of the future podcasts, I will be out at so and so bar. For that game. I'm going to try to make the effort to go out for it because we only got like a couple primetime games left, right?
Could
Besides
have more
night game.
if they get flexed, maybe.
3 more.
Yeah, because we've got
Texans,
Houston,
Packers
Green
on
Bay,
Thursday.
yeah,
after
and
Thanksgiving.
then that 49ers game
49ers.
might get flexed away from us. I'm not going to lie.
Why? You think
Because
the
the
49ers
Niners are
gonna
bad?
No, stop it.
They're bad.
They're unhealthy, is what they are. They're going to be fine.
Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
It does look like he tore an ACL, according to
more doom for my fantasy team too.
Really quick, and then we should get out of here. A couple more alerts. Yeah. Mostly just Joshua Mercer talking about how shitty Shohei Ohtani is. But 100-Bit says, no, that dude is a bum. He is also stealing $100 million in taxes from Cali and LA. His dang financial advisors are smart enough to defer his contract to scam that much in taxes, but aren't smart enough to notice $50 million just disappearing in his account. Yeah, right. And then another 100-Bit says, no, that dude isn't
really on Shohei.
Okay.
He also is stealing. Wait, is that the same thing?
That's the same message.
Did you donate twice?
No, I think he screwed up the bits in the first message.
I got both as like bit alerts.
Oh. Okay, I don't know then. Either way, it's the same message, yeah.
Anyways. All right, we're going to get out of here. Eric and I already recorded our videos, so if you're a Pride of Detroit Direct subscriber, that'll be in the newsletter tomorrow morning. We'll do midweek mailbag as well, either Tuesday or Wednesday. Go ahead.
Raid Bridget Case. I wanted to raid her after the purview. Could not figure out how to do that.
Yeah, so if you're on Twitch, unfortunately we can't raid via YouTube, but if you're on Twitch, we're going to send you over to Bridget Case, who's a sports Twitcher. And we like to support sports on Twitch. There's not enough.
She
of
supported
us
too. We go back and forth. It's tit for tat.
She's a Chargers.
She's a former NFL cheerleader, I believe.
True.
And she's a bit of a Chargers fan. She likes Jared Goff a lot, from what if I recall. But is probably just watching Sunday Night Football, so you can go watch with her.
Yep. So if you're on Twitch and you're watching, you don't have to do anything. In a couple seconds here, it's just going to redirect you to her channel. If you're on YouTube, I'm not sure if she's streaming on YouTube, but you could check. It's just literally the words Bridget Case, BRIDGET space CASE. Or you could jump to our Twitch channel and you'll raid them. But for now, we'll leave it there. We'll see you either on Tuesday or Wednesday for midweek, and then all of our other podcast offerings are coming. Hey,
review on Thursday, yeah.
Lions are 5-1, first place in the NFC.
Rock.
Go Lions.
Enjoy it responsibly.
Do.
Baby shark. Do.
Okay, the raid has gone through. There we go. All right, YouTube. We'll see you guys later too.